Alrighty guys, hi, it's Amanda. I am back for another video. I want to start off by thanking all of my new subscribers and say I really appreciate the support. If you are new to this channel, if you could go ahead and subscribe and give this video a like, or if you have any questions or comments, you can go ahead and leave them in the comment section. I do try to engage with everyone as much as possible. So this video is going to be rather short, which is why I'm not doing my makeup like I typically do when I do these little series. I'm really going to be kind of closing off the last chapter and moving on into the next part and explain a couple of things so moving forward you guys are able to easily follow along. So the first thing I want to say is my foster care journey has pretty much ended at this point. In part 3, I talked about my foster home that I was in for 2.5 years. So I started in that home when I was in 3rd grade. So now moving forward is going to be from 5th grade on. This is really just going to be explaining the characters and how I'm going to refer to everybody moving forward, so when I continue to tell my story, you guys are easily able to track and follow along. So with that being said, moving forward as I tell my adoption journey, I will refer to my adoptive family as my parents or my mom or my dad, my brother, etc. Just because that's who they are to me at this point in my life. They are my family, and those are the roles that they have. And I also want to state that if I refer to anyone previously or any biological family members, I will be sure to indicate that and make it well known who I'm discussing, because as we go on, different people that I've already discussed do come back into play, and I just want you guys to know that I am going to be sure to make that evident to you. But moving forward, I don't want any confusion when I say my mom or my dad, that you guys may be thinking of my biological family. So at this point, like I said, I am in 5th grade. This part's going to be relatively short due to my inability to fully remember. And I'm trying to remain as true to myself in telling this story to you guys as I'm doing so, without asking my parents how it actually unfolded. Now, going from what I have to now, after I upload videos, they are great supporters of mine, and my mom and I will discuss some of the things that she didn't know and some of the things that I didn't know. But I'm trying to be sure not to discuss those things previous to filming a video. That way it's not showing any parts that I really don't remember or somebody else's perspective, because this is really all about my perspective. And once I'm finished filming all of these parts, I do intend to kind of go back and cover things that my mom and I have since talked about, and my dad have since talked about, and just information to bring forward for those who may be going through it or know of a situation similar, just to give maybe a little reference on making it easier for you to see how other people handled it and things that they didn't know of how I was feeling and how to handle certain situations, and vice versa. So moving on, I guess I'm just going to go ahead and explain the players involved. So when I was telling my part 3 in my last foster home, I stated how she was close friends to a 3rd grade teacher, and I'm going to try my best not to get emotional, which is part of why this is going to be short. She was friends with the 3rd grade teacher and put me in her class. I don't know exactly how I was told. I can't fully remember, but what I do remember is when I was sitting in 5th grade one day, I believe I was told before it was announced, but I can't remember. So I was told in class and to everybody else that that 3rd grade teacher was going to adopt me. And whew, it's hard to talk about just because it changed my life so much in best way possible. So as I said, it's emotional, and I'm going to try and maintain myself so I can talk through it. But she did adopt me, and it was, the family moving forward will consist of my mom, my dad, and 2 siblings, and I have an older sister and a younger brother, and there is a pretty large age gap between all of us, but not so much so that we were unable to be compatible. So that is what happened as far as I remember. I can't even really remember the timeline from when I was told to when I was brought to their home. I'm really going to discuss that whole part in the next bit, because I am going to provide some background as far as how things were 30 years ago and how they are now, more for like an education type piece, because although I was adopted by wonderful people, my adoption was not handled right in the system and how things happen. It was not handled in the appropriate manner, and I want to be sure to have some time to discuss that. And I don't feel that it is, what's the best way? I don't feel that it's necessary to talk about now, because it won't fully integrate into the other parts of my story. So this video really is just to kind of let you guys know that we are closing out of my foster care journey and starting my adoption journey. I did know this family, but I did not know them extremely well. I did have a few, you know, family events at their house that they would invite me and my foster mom to. So I knew all of the family, but I was not close to any of them. And as I said in my third part, although I was a student of hers in 3rd grade, it was the end of 3rd grade. I was only there for maybe a semester, and I believe it was maybe even less than that. So we knew each other and did spend time together, but we did not really have a huge bond at this time. And just to put this out there, and this isn't my perspective, this is things that her and I have discussed since my foster care series is kind of done. She was told by my foster mom that she was not going to adopt me, and knowing the traumas I had experienced up until this point, and her having some kind of feeling towards me, put her in the place, and I'm sorry, it's not sad, it's really happy to look back at, but it's extremely emotional, and this is real. Like, this is what children who experience things that I have, how it affects them long term. And I know I'm talking through my tears, 1, to try and make them stop, and 2, just because I don't want people to feel bad, and I want people to know the real effects it has, because this is showing you all who are watching this how it can affect people as they grow older. So if I cry, I'm just gonna talk through it. So she knew at this time, I don't know exact the timeline, we had talked about this recently, but I don't remember the exact timeline, but she knew that she wasn't going to adopt me, and she did not want me to go back into care. Hardly knowing me, just spending a little bit of time with me, she didn't want me to go back into care. So she had gone to her husband and kind of just stated this was what was going to happen, and he said okay, and I could not I could not tell you guys how grateful I am that she saw the potential I could be, and that her husband was willing to jump on board without really knowing me at all or knowing anything about me. So it is a long process, typically domestically, when you're going to adopt. You have to go through classes, you have to make sure you're prepared to handle the different types of behaviors and things that you will experience with a child who's been in foster care. So they did all of that silently until they knew officially that it had been approved and that I was going to be able to move in with them and be their child. So, this is the most I've cried. And I want to reiterate, these tears are not full of sadness. They're full of pure joy. Because I know where my biological family is in the stage of their lives right now. And I have kind of kept track from afar, and we'll discuss all of this moving forward. And I know the statistics from working and knowing other kids who went through what I went through, what the likelihood of them being able to have a lifestyle that I have now. It's not impossible. It's definitely not. It's totally doable. But having people to love you and you can trust and that you have loyalty to, and it is unconditionally returned, can make the difference. And it doesn't have to be from an adoptive family. In my story, it just so happened to work out that way, and I'm forever grateful. But there are situations that I know they weren't adopted, but they were still able to build these relationships and these bonds with individuals and be able to come out and be successful and have a great life. And I want that to be known to people. Like, yes, my story is an adoption story in the long run, but there are scenarios where that doesn't happen, and there's still a great story and a huge light at the end of the end. And I just want people to know that you, whoever you are, you could be that person for somebody. Everybody has the ability to be the person on why somebody like me at 30 years old is able to sit down and talk about it and be okay with being vulnerable and crying in front of who knows how many people because of my pure happiness and joy on the people who were able to change my life and make my life amazing. So guys, I'm sorry I cried. I'm sorry if this was hard to watch because I cried. I understand some people find it difficult to watch individuals who are upset, but again, these aren't bad tears. They are full of joy and happiness, and I just wanted to be honest with you, and now is a good time for me to do so and just start trucking along. And I can go ahead and probably tell you this whole adoption part of my life has its ups and downs, and there will probably be more crying. I'm not gonna lie. So with that being said, I believe I will have my next part of this series out on Monday or Tuesday. And then, as you can tell, I've kind of been filming some other commentary stuff in the middle. I can't promise I'll have anything up in that playlist, but I might. But guys, I just want to thank you all for being here, and I hope you're having a good day wherever you are in the world, and I will see you next time. Bye.